Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I'm your host Davion, and I'm joined by Emmett,
What's up?
and I'm joined by Lillian.
Yo, yo.
How we doing?
Good, man.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good. Yeah. No Kevin Durant, no Donovan Mitchell news yet. Um, but I don't know. I don't think it'll come at this point. But today we'll be starting a brand new series on the channel. This will go for like the next 3-ish months until like the NBA kicks off in October. We're gonna be just going through each NBA team, talking about each team, and just giving our opinion on what they need to do to be, get to the next level, or giving our opinion on what we think they're gonna, what's gonna make of it. But first, today we're gonna start off with the Boston Celtics. So Boston's a very interesting team. You have a very young future in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And you made it to the you made it to the finals this year. And so what were they missing this season?
I think the Celtics, more than anything, offense. It's very clearly a solid, not even solid, a great defensive team. You've got Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, all can play man-to-man, can great help defenders. But especially when we were watching the finals this year, you get Jaylen Brown, who is scoring really efficiently at a high volume, suffers issues with turnovers. And you look at Jason Tatum, practically disappears. We grew accustomed to, we get at least one or two Jason Tatum games where he dropped 30, 40 points. Just didn't happen in the finals. Mm-hmm. Marcus Smart, super inconsistent. Al Horford didn't have that same type of performance he had against Giannis. So when I look at the Celtics, I think the number one need there is defense. I think offense. I think defensively, though, they look fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Emmett.
I would to answer your question, I think it was kind of the heat of the moment that really got them, in my opinion. Like, they, in my opinion, probably had one of the toughest roads to the finals that we've seen in history, starting off to Brooklyn, sweeping them, and then taking on the reigning champion Bucks, and then the Heat, who were super hot at the time. And then you got to play the Warriors. And I think credit where credit is due there. I think they were all hungry and ready to go. I mean, Tatum rolled through all three of those teams. He had his way. It just, the finals, none of them had been there before. And it's a whole different game. And I know, like, maybe a couple, like, the first few games could just, get the kinks out and whatnot. But I would say just run it back again. Like, I think they could easily have won that series if shots were falling. They played well against Golden State defensively. But you got a guy named Steph Curry. So, but Celtics, I think they should run it back.
So, watching the finals this season and watching the games, obviously, like, do we think Jason Tatum went ghostly, or do you think that's a method of good defense? Because personally, I think that I love Jason Tatum a lot, and I've liked him since Duke. Even though I would rather prefer Carolina than Duke, yes. But yeah, I've liked him when he got drafted, and I thought he could be, a different, like, he can become like really different in this league in a couple years from when he got drafted, and like obviously he is now. And so I just feel like, I think with time and drive and more of a consistent, reach in the playoffs and the finals, like I feel like that just becomes with experience. And so I think whenever he, gets that experience under his belt, and whenever he is able to, you know, become older and like, and play the game the way it needs to be played, I think you will see him like become a championship player.
Yeah, I think his time's gonna come
Yeah,
for sure. And I think I don't like how everyone's, throwing this hate at him all of a sudden just
I
for
agree.
ghosting in the finals. You could like no one's really saying much about KD anymore after his series against the Celtics, and that was kind of blown over.
Yeah,
But I think what I saw from Tatum and why they were so good the later part of the regular season and the play why they got through the playoffs to the finals is that early on in Tatum's career he just wants to be that guy. He wants to be that scorer, the ISO. Give me the ball. I want to score. But this year he took a much more jump in his playmaking and getting guys open. He's obviously the focal point, but he'll drive in and make a play for someone like Grant Williams, Marcus Smart, Derek White. Uh, all of those guys, their value grew tremendously because they were getting open looks, making winning plays. And I think in the finals, I didn't see as much of that playmaking that I saw from Tatum earlier in the playoffs.
I think paired with that, like I think when it got to the finals, you saw him trying to switch his game up, and when you get to the finals, like you should always stay to what you know. And I feel like with him is like he switched his game up so much, it was like it now became he was trying to, pass the ball and and not be as aggressive as he should be because we know like he's one of those relentless scorers where he can score at will whenever he wants. And so whenever he like doesn't do that and whenever he decides to be the passing like three that he isn't, well he can be, but like it just does not benefit his team well enough. And so when he doesn't do that, like that becomes the problem, and that's why, and that's like a piece of why they lost the finals. And because Golden State's one of those teams that are very experienced, something that Boston Celtics aren't. But Golden State's very experienced, and they're gonna hit you at your weakness every single time. Like they're gonna stop you from doing everything that you think that you were perfect at, and so that's exactly what
Yeah.
they did.
100%. I think Jason Tatum can't take that backseat role with the Celtics
Oh yeah, no,
because you can't ask Jaylen Brown to be the guy shouldering that load when you have Jason Tatum sitting there who can easily go and get you 30 points when he wants to.
yeah,
So I think it worked game one. We saw them come back because of his playmaking. But then when he continued to try and force that against an experienced veteran defense that Golden State has, it did not work because they didn't have more than one guy on the court at a time willing to go and score. And I think a lot of it also was when we did see Jason Tatum try and score, it looked like I don't love to be this person, but it looked like he may have been more interested in looking for a foul than trying to get the ball in the basket.
yeah. And I mean, and we see these days, like especially like as like the NBA become becomes more an under the whistle type game, you see like players start to do that, and you see like them lose that step and them lose that aggression that we know they have when they know they're not getting these fouls. I mean, because Jason Tatum's never been to the finals, and we all know in the finals, like fouls aren't called fouls as much anymore. It's really an aggressive, a really man's game, and so like it just I don't know. We saw them fail in that aspect of it.
Mm.
So what do we like? I think I just asked this question, but do we think they can be like? Okay, let me rephrase that. Hearing some of the rumors that just came out about Jaylen Brown being offered in a package for Kevin Durant, give me your initial thoughts on it.
Ooh.
I,
Uh,
I don't like it for the Celtics. I think it would obviously benefit the Nets. They get some young guys that they can build from, but I think that hurts the Celtics. The Celtics are a team that do not need another ball dominant player. You have Jason Tatum, you have Jaylen Brown, you have Marcus Smart, who is very willing, we've seen this year and in past years, to take the ball into his own hands and figure something out. You don't need to throw Kevin Durant into that mix. And obviously, I think what I saw with the trade offer was Jaylen Brown, and I think Marcus Smart was what the Nets wanted. But I don't like a front court of Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant together. I think that would lead to Jason Tatum doing again what he did in the finals and trying to take a back seat and facilitate more.
Okay, but I mean, the facilitator would be Kevin Durant. It wouldn't be Jaylen Brown. That's a little bit different.
No, but I'm saying Jason Tatum, I think, would try to take that back seat and facilitate again like he did in the finals.
I think it'll be a better, I think it'll be a better slate doing that with Kevin Durant instead of Jaylen Brown. Don't get me wrong. I think Jaylen Brown is very talented and has a lot of potential to be great, but he's no Kevin Durant. Let's be real.
No.
There's only 4 players in this league that we can say are anywhere close to Kevin Durant. And so I just feel like I don't like the trade. I think it's dumb for the Celtics. I don't understand why they would do that. Because they would get Kevin Durant, and would they get somebody else? Or just KD?
Nah, just KD.
And so, you're going to kill your future for a 37-year-old man. Don't get me wrong, this 37-year-old man is one of the most elite scorers in the league, but yeah.
I think, well, I don't know what's on the table for the Nets, but I don't think they shouldn't be shutting down the Celtics immediately. I think they still should have this option available to them, because I know we talked about it earlier. They need to take the best package that's available to them. And something that, maybe y'all don't know, but there's a rule in the league where you can't have 2 players that are on their rookie max extensions. So you can't have Zion and Ja on the same team, at least during that rookie max extension. So the only 2 young sort of still growing wings that could be on the Nets. I'm talking about this because they have Ben Simmons, who is on a rookie max right now. So the only 2 that they could really feasibly get that's still young is Jaylen Brown and Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
So I think that they should keep the offer on the table. And if no better offers come, I think Jaylen Brown could be a nice piece for a semi-rebuilding team. Same with Ben Simmons. But I don't think the Celtics should have offered that at all. I think, like I said, again, they got Brogdon in, who's a great playmaker shooter. And I just say go back with the same roster. Revisit this next year if something's not working. But yeah, that's what I think.
I mean, do we think Jaylen Brown should be frustrated by this? And should it hurt the relationship?
I mean, I would.
You see what he tweeted?
But we also have to remember, the NBA is a business. These owners are businessmen. I'm not saying it's okay at all, because it's not. But I'm saying you should know this is gonna be like this. I mean, anyone can be put up for trade except LeBron or Curry or Giannis. You won't see these guys, but you're Jaylen Brown. I'm not saying you're not terrible, but you're not untouchable. And there's only one man untouchable on that team, and that's Jason Tatum.
And I feel like apparently the Nets wanted Tatum for KD or something like that early on.
An entire team for KD, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I think what we see with the Nets is they either don't trade him, or they do what the Sixers did, where the Sixers tried to ask for everybody in the world for Ben Simmons, and then realized that couldn't happen and just trade for a few role players.
I mean, they traded him on the deadline too.
Yeah. Now, I will say KD's worth more than a few role players. I think they'd get a little more, but they're not going to get anything near what they want.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Boston's one of those teams in the league where it's like we said, they have added a lot this offseason. And so it's like they have potential to go back to back if they can keep that core group together, and if they can keep like Jaylen Brown happy. I mean, because do they need Jaylen Brown? Like, what if he came out and requested a trade right now?
Then I think the Nets would take that 100%.
I mean, I would say yeah, but like if I'm Boston, I'm trading Jaylen Brown away, I'm going to get me a starting point guard. I'm going to get somebody who can really facilitate, shoot the ball well. Don't know who that is, but like I'm going to get somebody who can really take over a game if I need him to. I'm not saying Jaylen Brown can't, but he's not a point guard. He's more of a two than a one.
Well, I'm really interested in seeing what the Celtics, if they don't end up trading anybody, what their starting lineup looks like. Because you've got Marcus Smart, you've got Malcolm Brogdon, you've got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Robert Williams. So would that be your starting five? I mean, that's an undersized backcourt.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
but
probably
probably
five.
they were undersized last season though. I mean, Golden State was just like weren't they like the smallest, like one of the smallest teams in the league last year?
Yeah, but they're like a notoriously small ball team.
Yeah, but they won the league. I mean, they pretty much doing exactly. I mean, they pretty much the Celtics are pretty much trying to do what Golden State do. I mean, they surround their team with shooters, and they picked up Derek White as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very easy to surround your team with shooters when two of those shooters are Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry.
Oh yeah,
So I think I understand why the Celtics would want to look at Golden State and say this worked. Why don't we try that? But it's very clear that Golden State has a specific formula and way of what they do that works.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, this Celtics team, became a 3-and-D team last season, and so they added two pieces, and Malcolm Brogdon and Gallinari, who are 3-point shooters, and they can definitely make a difference to your team. And so, I mean, I love the direction they're going in. I think they have potential to be right back in the finals next year. But it's just a matter of time to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But before we start closing on the Celtics, because I don't know, the Celtics are one of those teams where it's like you just don't know what you're going to get out of them because last season they started off rough and they just weren't the team to be feared, and then they picked it up once they got going. But anything else on the Boston Celtics?
No, yeah, I think it was so impressive how they were like under 500 significantly at the break and then just turned it up out of nowhere. I honestly couldn't tell you what the reason for that was, but hey, I guess we know that any team can do it.
I think they looked at each other and like, okay, like what are we doing here? We are a lot better than what we can be. And don't get me wrong, like they put the ball. I think they bench Marcus Smart, to be honest. I think they do. They bring him off the bench as a sixth man with the second unit because like he's a point guard, but like he's more of a like, I don't know, like
He's like Pat Bev, but a little better.
a little better. Oh, I would say yeah. Okay, I'll agree to that statement. Yeah, a little bit better. And so, I mean, when you get like that, you gotta really think. So I think that, I mean, they'll have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Robert Williams, and then Malcolm Brogdon would start. And that's a really good. I mean, you got Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench, Gallinari coming off the bench, Derek White. I mean, you got 3 point guards come off the bench, and Marcus Smart.
Yeah, they got a lot of point guards.
Well, we'll count Marcus Smart more as a two. All right.
Mm.
Yeah, but I don't know, the consistency, and if they can get going fast next season and they can really like scrap up like they did last season in the playoffs, I mean, they can go back to back. I mean, I think Golden State's still the team to beat. But we're not talking about Golden State. We're talking about the Celtics. So, yeah, but I mean that's all I got. That's all I got?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Hey, just shout out to Ime Udoka though.
Oh
That's a great.
yes. I mean, he completely changed that team around.
Yeah.
I remember in
think
his press conference last year at the beginning of the year, he was like, "Hey, Brad Stevens, I apologize, but like, there's no way we're gonna be like last in the NBA in defense." And I was like, and then they changed into a top 5 defensive team in the league.
Yeah, I think he was a lot of who got Marcus Smart to buy in to not just taking shots.
Yeah. I mean, and Marcus Smart has been shooting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's because there's lower volume there. He's taking better shots.
Yeah. I mean, that top of the key hot for him, I guess. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank y'all for listening to the new series. Just let us know how it is, and let us know if you like it. We'll be covering a lot of NBA teams over the next couple months. Well, all of them, obviously. And yeah, I think the next episode will be the Brooklyn Nets. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, thanks for listening. I have been your host, Davion, joined by Emmett and Lillian, and this has been the postgame. Peace.
Catch y'all.